Good evening, everyone. Treasure Troller here on a ride to work evening. Was it Monday the 5th or something like that? Yes, it's already dark. And then maybe another month, we do the fall back. And so it won't be long before 6 o'clock in the evening. It'll be dark here. But on the bright side of things, the last real vacation weekend and the tourists are gone. Empty streets, empty beach. The sun goes down alone. So today I wanted to talk on a couple of, sports related things. For the most part, I think I'm a football fan, and of course being from Michigan with the Lions, it takes effort. And for obvious reasons, last year was a bit difficult to watch sports. And honestly, I didn't want to really ruin my Sundays by watching the Lions lose yet once again. So I really didn't watch any football last year, and quite honestly, I'm probably more of a high school football fan than anything. But I didn't realize how much I really missed football until I saw a Twitter post just the other day, and it was from in between the third and fourth quarters at Camp Randall Stadium at University of Wisconsin. They play the jump around music, or the jump around song, and the crowd goes absolutely buck wild. And not that I'm a Wisconsin fan, don't mistake that. But seeing all those fans just going crazy at Camp Randall kind of made me realize how much I do miss football. I do miss the Saturday tradition. So I'm glad to see it back. But the one thing I noticed about football yesterday, or football over the weekend, was that with the exception of a couple of coaches on the sidelines, there weren't very many people wearing face masks. And I'm not talking about the face mask that's on the football helmets. I'm talking about the other face mask. There wasn't a lot of people wearing them, which I guess kind of makes me wonder what all this is for and who it's for. Sorry about that. But just something that I had kind of observed. The other thing sports related is Naomi Osaka. She's early 20s, professional tennis player who's had a bit of a rough year this year. She's been bowing out of tournaments early. I'm not sure if it was one of the first Grand Slam tournaments, but she got defeated in one of the early rounds, and she didn't want to talk to the press. She talked about how difficult it was to talk to the press. She kind of related it to kind of mental health issues, and she took a pretty severe beating in the press and from the media about that. And I think Simone, this time around, they were pretty easy on her. I think it was with the U.S. Open that she bowed out early. I think she has Simone Biles to thank for that, because, of course, her twisties were revered as such a courageous choice. To not continue and to quit on her team was okay. So this time, really relating it to mental health, I think they went easy on her. She did talk to the press, though. But with Naomi, listening to her talk and reading some of the stuff, I almost get a twinge of Todd Marinovich in her. And for those of you who do not know who Todd Marinovich was, back in the late 70s, he was probably the top ranked high school football prospect at quarterback. He was brought up by his father, who basically trained him to be a quarterback. A lot was written about his diet and his training regimen, and he, as a freshman, started for Mater Dei. He's from the California area. I think Mater Dei is in Northern California. I'm just not 100%. But he started at Mater Dei as a freshman at quarterback. Then his father transferred him to another high school, probably because they, I don't know, had a better football quarterback coach or something. But anyways, he ended up at USC, played at USC for about a year, and left early for the NFL draft. Now, back then, it wasn't quite as easy as it is today. He got picked up by the Raiders, and much sooner than he wanted, and maybe even the Raiders wanted, he found himself starting at quarterback. And things quickly went downhill for Todd. Substance abuse kind of played into it, but I think for the most part, Todd really didn't want to be out there. Todd did not want to play. And I sort of get the same feeling when I see Naomi. Now, I'm not talking about the substance abuse. I'm thinking she maybe just doesn't want to be out there. She's only in her early 20s. She's probably still got 10 more years of high-level competitiveness in her. That's a long time to train and have to deal with the press. She's sort of developing these little, I don't know, kind of OCD features. Like, she doesn't like playing on clay now. She's got an issue with clay. And now, remember, Yvonne Lendl never liked to play on clay either. So there may be something to that. But I think she's struggling with the same thing Todd did later in an interview for, I think he was on an ESPN 60 or something like that, where they were talking about Todd and his career and life after football, because Todd did try to make several comebacks to play professional football. But there's one point, and Todd is kind of sitting on the beach, and he's talking about people making comments like, what a wasted talent, or he wasted his talent, and Todd kind of responded by saying, well, whose talent was it to waste? And of course he's right. I mean, just because he has a talent doesn't mean he has to use it. And I'm almost seeing sort of the same thing in Naomi, where maybe she feels like she has the talent and doesn't want to waste it, but she really doesn't want to be out there. I haven't seen a lot of tennis play. Really a lot of pro athletes that take time off and come back and be at a really high competitive level, because while they're, sitting around and trying to get their mental health back, their opponents are out there practicing and training. And so she can't completely give it up, and maybe getting out on the courts just reminds her of how much she doesn't really want to be out there. So it's going to be interesting to see what becomes of Naomi. I'm just sort of thinking that maybe we're sort of seeing the touring end of it, of Naomi, the end of it. There's a lot of options for pro tennis players after the professional circuit. So maybe she's going to be better suited for the corporate events and the exhibitions that are out there, and even the pro tennis circuit. But just keep an eye on Naomi, see how it turns out for her. That's about it. From the total darkness of the militant state of Michigan, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.